let's do The Strangers, Chapter 1, a movie that I saw that Alan has not seen.
Yep.
Now, The Strangers is there was a 2008 movie called The Strangers, which is effectively the same, the same basic premise. It's a rental, an Airbnb, or what they call a scare B&B. A couple stays at an Airbnb under weird circumstances. There are creepy people in creepy masks that are trying to kill them. I just told you the whole plot of The Strangers Chapter 1, which, by the way, I only found out after I saw the film. It's part 1 of a 3-part series. Thankfully, it's only 90 minutes. And the movie starts out with this. It's actually kind of cool. There's a quote. It's something like, I wrote it down, like 1.2 million acts of violence happen in the United States every year. 1 every 26 seconds. 7 have happened since the start of this film. This is one of those stories. That's how the movie begins, which got a good laugh. And oddly enough, the screening I was at, which was the first screening of the film at 6:00, packed. It was packed. And obviously horror fans, hardcore horror fans, I do horror. And the movie does have that sort of a quiet place vibe where things are very quiet. Things are very quiet. Oh, she's in the shower now. Oh, she doesn't see the guy standing right there with a creepy mask on. There's a lot of that. So this couple is on a road trip, comes to a small town, car breaks down. They have to stay overnight at an Airbnb. They stay at the Airbnb and everything seems to go wrong. The guy has an inhaler, which he leaves in the car. So he has to drive back to town on a motorcycle to get the inhaler to, so he's okay. She's alone in the house by herself. And I will say, I have to admit, those scenes got to me. I mean, it was creepy and good creepy. So, and it worked. And there are just frightening moments. But in my opinion, not enough of them. So in the masks themselves, there's like 3 masked characters, 2 that I think are girls and 1 big imposing guy. The masks are great. They really nailed it on the masks. Frightening, scary, and the tension builds are good, but it's also frustrating. You see this film, you're like, okay, now they have a shotgun. They get a shotgun somehow. And you're like, okay, use it. And you're stuck in this. What would I do in the situation? I'd just be waiting with a gun and I would shoot and or injure and or end the life of whoever's coming my way. I don't care. But it puts them in situations where you're like, oh, why don't you just, come on, why don't you just, and then they don't. And then a lot of moments of standing around and someone is sitting there in the background, but they don't see them. Look at the right, turn around, look behind you. Behind you. Oh. That's what it was like watching the whole movie. Now, I can't say I didn't enjoy a lot of it. Like, it was kind of fun, but it's because I didn't know it was like, this is like 3 parts. What? I felt they were holding back answers. And so it was a little frustrating. I will say a mild recommend for me. So I give it a 6 out of 10. But, and I am interested. It didn't end on a cliffhanger, but it ended on there's more to the story. And I don't really know if it's connected to the old Strangers movie. I don't even remember that from 2008. That was, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It was Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I mean, the only connection seems to be the premise and the masks.
Yeah, I mean, it's like was that movie such a success that they had to not only redo it, but now make it a 3-parter?
I don't know, but it's also directed by Rennie Harlan.
Yeah,
who is not really known for movies like this. It's more like big action movies. I mean, he did what? Die Hard 2, other stuff like that. Like, yeah. So, overall, like, I enjoyed it while I was watching it because I like this type of movie, but it's not for everybody. Hardcore horror fans only. And it's a mild recommend, just barely for me.
So you are not excited to see Chapter 2, but you're intrigued.
Oh, I'm going.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going.
I mean, I don't know. I look at this and I'm like, does it? I'm not sure. I'm inspired by the fact that I don't know. Is it setting up Chapter 2 well enough, or is it just? I don't know. I don't get the sense that
setup.
Mm-hmm.
There is a setup, but I want answers. And I felt a little cheated with like, we're just going to end it here. There is a post credit, so stick around. But I thought it did the tension well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I give it credit for. More than anything, the thing I liked about the movie, they just kept repeating and they did it well. The masked, creepy people. But I want answers. I want to know who they are, and I want them to die. I want them to pay for their crimes. So, mild recommend if you like this type of movie. If you don't like this type of movie, don't waste your time.
Yeah, I'm not seeing this.
You have to pre-like it. So, there you go.
Okay.
Let's see.
It's a slasher film. That's what it is.
That's exactly right.